It was a crisp autumn morning when Keanu Reeves walked into a sleek, modern hotel nestled in the heart of the city. He wasn't here as a guest of honor or a celebrity, but simply as someone looking for a quiet place to escape. The hotel was a recently purchased property, one Keanu had bought as part of a personal project to revitalize a few local businesses. But as of today, only a select few knew who the new owner was. He stepped up to the front desk, greeted by a young receptionist named Sophie, who was busy typing away on her computer, seemingly unaware of the man standing in front of her. "Good morning. I have a reservation under Keanu Reeves," he said with a calm, polite tone. Sophie glanced up, her eyes briefly meeting his before flicking back to the screen. "Sorry, we don't have any reservation under that name." She didn't look at him again, not recognizing him or perhaps not caring. She typed a few more things on her keyboard and then stared at him, her impatience growing. Keanu, a little surprised by the dismissiveness, tried again. "I'm certain it's under my name. It's for the suite. I think the reservation was made last week." His voice remained friendly, but there was an unmistakable edge of confusion. Sophie's expression darkened as she let out a small sigh, clearly annoyed by what she assumed was a simple mistake on his part. "Well, I'm not sure what to tell you. We don't have a booking. If you're really Mr. Reeves, you could have at least tried calling ahead, or maybe you should double-check your information next time." She said this with a tone that bordered on sarcastic. Keanu stood there, taken aback by her tone. He wasn't used to being spoken to like that, but he didn't want to escalate the situation. Instead, he smiled politely, nodding as though to acknowledge her frustration. "I understand. Perhaps I could just check for the room myself?" Sophie, still engrossed in her work, barely looked up. "No, I don't think you'll be able to do that. You'll have to speak to the manager for any issues like this." She gave a dismissive wave, clearly trying to move on with her day. Keena's smile faded, replaced with a subtle shift of recognition. He realized that this was the kind of thing that might be common for someone who isn't immediately recognized. But something inside him clicked. He wasn't just any person standing in front of Sophie. He was Keanu Reeves, and unbeknownst to her, he wasn't just another guest. He owned the hotel. It was his money that had funded the renovations and his vision that had turned this place into what it was today. Instead of saying anything, Keanu paused for a moment. He had always believed in humility and grace, but he also understood that sometimes you have to let people realize their mistake on their own. He calmly took out his phone, opened a particular app, and showed Sophie the account that displayed his ownership of the hotel complete with the property name, and his details listed as the CEO. Her face turned pale. She froze, realizing the error she had made. The woman she had just spoken to with so much disdain was, in fact, the owner of the hotel she worked for. Sophie's expression shifted from disbelief to embarrassment in a heartbeat. She quickly put her hands up, flustered. I didn't know," she stammered. "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I mean, I just thought—" Keanu raised his hand gently, cutting her off. "It's all right. I understand. Mistakes happen," he said in a calm, measured voice. Sophie's face reddened as she nervously straightened her uniform. "I really apologize for how I spoke to you earlier. I had no idea who you were. I should have been more patient." Keanu smiled softly, his tone warm but firm. "No harm done, but I think this is a good reminder that we should treat everyone with respect, no matter who they are. You never know who's standing in front of you." Sophie nodded, her head down in recognition of the lesson she'd just learned. "I won't forget that, sir." Keanu gave a light chuckle. "Don't worry about it. Just be kind and everything will work out." He turned to walk away, but Sophie called after him. "Wait, is there anything I can do to make it up to you?" she asked, desperate to make amends. Keanu paused, then turned with a grin. "You can start by giving me a tour of the hotel. I'm sure it's come a long way since the renovation started. Sophie's face lit up with relief. Of course. I'd love to show you around. Thank you for being so understanding. As Keanu followed Sophie on the tour, he couldn't help but smile. In the end, it wasn't about the mistake or the miscommunication, it was about showing Sophie the power of humility and grace in the face of embarrassment. By simply choosing to forgive her without making her feel small, Keanu turned a potentially humiliating situation into a teaching moment. And Sophie, for her part, learned that respect wasn't something that could be measured by the title or the paycheck, it was something earned by kindness and humility. Kinu's quiet response was a lesson that would stay with her long after he left. The experience wasn't just a reminder for Sophie, but for everyone around her. No one, no matter how famous or powerful, is exempt from the simple rule of treating others with dignity and respect. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming tales of kindness.